The silver halls of the Galactic Council station hummed with quiet energy as Vex floated through the communication chamber. His crystalline body caught the soft blue light that filled the room, creating tiny rainbows on the walls. Of first contact affairs, Vex had processed thousands of messages from new species across the galaxy. Most were simple trade requests or peaceful greetings from civilizations that had just discovered space travel. Today felt different. Vex, you need to see this, called Cole from across the chamber. The green-skinned administrator from Verdania looked troubled as he stared at his data screen. We received a transmission from the Outer Rim. It's unusual. Vex drifted closer, his crystalline form making soft, chiming sounds as he moved. Another distress signal from a crashed exploration ship. No. Cole shook his head, his leaf-like hair rustling with the movement. This one claims to be from a species asking to join the council, call themselves humans, and they say they come from a planet called Terra. Vex's crystal body flickered with interest. The new species were always exciting, though most required years of careful preparation before they could safely interact with the galactic community. Have you run the planetary analysis yet? That's the problem. Cole's voice carried a strange tone. The computer systems keep flagging errors. Planetary data seems impossible. Vex extended a thin crystal arm and touched the data screen. Numbers and readings flowed across the display, and with each line his body began to dim with worry. This cannot be correct. Run the analysis again. I've run it 12 times, Cole replied. The results are always the same. The data painted a picture of a world that should not exist. According to the readings, Terra orbited a violent yellow star that constantly bombarded the planet with deadly radiation. The surface was covered in vast bodies of corrosive liquid that the humans called oceans. The atmosphere contained 21% oxygen, a gas so reactive it would rust metal and age most known species within hours. But the horrors did not end there. Look at this weather data, Vex whispered, his voice barely audible above the chamber's hum. The planetary reports showed massive storms that covered entire continents, with wind speeds that could tear apart most council buildings. Frozen water regularly fell from the sky in chunks large enough to damage structures. The ground itself split open without warning, spewing molten rock that could melt through starship hulls. The seismic activity is off the charts, Cole added, pointing to another section of the report. The entire planet's surface is broken into massive pieces that constantly move and crash into each other. The humans call them tectonic plates. Vex's crystalline form began to pulse with a nervous purple light, and they claim to live on this world, all of them, according to their transmission. Yes? They say their population is over 7 billion. Individuals, all living on the surface of this nightmare planet. The two council members stared at the data in silence. Vex had seen many dangerous worlds in his 300 years of service, but nothing compared to this Terra. The council had classification systems for hostile planets, ranging from Class I worlds with minor environmental challenges to Class 12 worlds that were considered completely uninhabitable. Terra's readings broke their classification system entirely. Perhaps it's a mistake, Vex suggested hopefully. Maybe they're living in underground cities or orbital stations. Cole shook his head again. I thought the same thing, so I analyzed. Their transmission signals, broadcasts are coming from all over the planet's surface. Cities, forests, mountains, even floating structures on those corrosive oceans. They're not hiding from their world's dangers. They're living right in the middle of them. Vex floated over to the main communication console and began reviewing the human transmission. The message was simple and polite, written in a mathematical language that most new species used for first contact. But as he read it, something felt wrong. Cole, look at this, Vex called out. They're describing their world as beautiful and diverse. They mention enjoying something called beach vacations near those corrosive oceans. They talk about mountain climbing and winter sports. What are winter sports? Cole asked. Vex consulted the translation database. Activities performed during their planet's cold season when the temperature drops below the freezing point of water. They seem to ... enjoy it. Both aliens stared at each other in confusion. Every known species in the galaxy avoided cold temperatures. The idea of enjoying them was beyond their understanding. There's more. Vex continued reading.
They mention
Extreme sports as popular activities. Rock climbing, deep-sea diving, something called skydiving, where they jump from aircraft. Without immediate safety measures, they voluntarily expose themselves to danger. Cole's voice was filled with disbelief. It appears so. They describe it as fun. Vex spent the next hour reviewing every piece of data about Terra and its inhabitants. The more he learned, the more impossible it seemed. The humans lived in cities built directly on the unstable ground, despite regular earthquakes. They traveled across the planet in vehicles that moved at incredible speeds, trusting their reaction times to avoid collisions. They consumed food that contained potentially toxic compounds, including something called alcohol that was literally poisonous to most species. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to thrive in conditions that would kill council members within minutes. We need to contact the science division, Vex finally said. This requires a full analysis by our xenobiology team. What should we tell them? Cole asked. Vex's crystal body flickered with uncertainty. Tell them we may have discovered a species that evolved on a Class 12 Deathworld. No, wait, he paused, reviewing the data one more time. Tell them we may need to create a new classification system. As Cole prepared the message for the science division, Vex continued studying the human transmission. Hidden within the polite diplomatic language were casual references to their world that chilled him to his crystalline core. They mentioned natural disasters as if they were minor inconveniences. They talked about weather warnings and emergency preparedness as normal parts of daily life. These humans did not just survive on their death world. They had built a civilization there. They had created art, music, literature, and technology while living under conditions that would drive most species to extinction within a single generation. Vex Cole's voice interrupted his thoughts. The science division wants to know if we should prepare a standard rejection notice. They assume this is either a hoax or a distress signal from a crashed ship. Vex looked at the data one more time, then at the continuing stream of communications flowing in from Terra. Radio signals, carrying what appeared to be entertainment programs, data streams showing images of human cities, video transmissions of humans going about their daily lives on a world that should not be able to support any life at all. No, he said finally. Don't send a rejection notice yet. Something tells me we're going to need to completely reconsider what we thought we knew about habitable worlds. The discovery of humanity was about to change everything the Galactic Council believed about life in the universe. The main docking bay of the Galactic Council station buzzed with nervous energy as hundreds of alien workers prepared for humanity's arrival. Chief Engineer Knox, a tall insect-like being with 4 arms, directed the installation of additional safety barriers around the meeting chamber. His compound eyes darted between multiple work crews as they reinforced the viewing windows with triple-layer transparent steel. Are you certain these barriers will hold? Asked Security Chief Zara, her blue-scaled skin shimmering under the station's lights. The reports from the science division are ... concerning. Knox clicked his mandibles nervously. We've built these barriers to withstand a direct impact from a cargo hauler. But honestly, we have no idea what we're dealing with. The humans' physiological data suggests they could potentially damage our standard structures. 3 weeks had passed since the science division confirmed the impossible truth about Terra and its inhabitants. The humans were not refugees from a death world or survivors of some cosmic accident. They were the natural product of evolution, on a planet so hostile that the Council's computers had to create an entirely new classification system just to catalog it. The decision to allow a human delegation aboard the station had sparked heated debates in the Council chambers. Many members argued it was too dangerous, that bringing Deathworld creatures into their peaceful environment could result in catastrophe. Others worried about contamination, disease, or simply the psychological trauma their citizens might experience from meeting such beings. But curiosity had won over caution. Ambassador Ray stood in the airlock of the human transport ship, adjusting his simple black suit one final time. At 6 feet tall, with brown hair and calm brown eyes, he looked completely ordinary by human standards. He had no idea that his mere appearance had already sent several alien observers into panic attacks. Behind him, Captain Bell and her security team performed final equipment checks. The captain was a practical woman in her 40s, with short gray hair and steady hands that had seen action in Earth's various conflicts. Her team consisted of 4 Marines who had volunteered for this historic mission, though they still did not fully understand why the aliens seemed so frightened of them. "Remember, everyone," Ray said to his team, "we're here to make friends, not to intimidate anyone. Keep movements slow and deliberate. No sudden actions." "Sir," Captain Bell replied, "should we be concerned about the environmental suits they keep asking us to wear?" Ray shook his head. "The atmospheric readings show their station maintains conditions well within human tolerance. If anything, it's going to feel like a pleasant spring day." The airlocks cycled open, and the human delegation stepped into the station's receiving area. The space was enormous, clearly designed to accommodate beings of various sizes, but Ray noticed it was completely empty, except for a few mechanical devices that seemed to be recording their every movement. "Welcome to Council Station Harmony," came a voice through hidden speakers. Ray recognized it from their communications as Diplomat Nara, a representative from the ocean world of Aquatica. "Please forgive the remote greeting, but we must observe certain safety protocols." Ray smiled at the nearest recording device. "Of course, we understand completely. We appreciate your caution and your hospitality in inviting us here." Unknown to the humans, their simple presence had triggered emergency protocols throughout the station. In the observation chamber, dozens of council members watched through reinforced barriers as the humans moved through the receiving area. They saw challenged everything they thought they knew about intelligent life. The humans moved with fluid precision that reminded the observers of apex predators from their homeworlds. Their eyes faced forward instead of to the sides, giving them binocular vision designed for hunting rather than watching for threats. Most disturbing of all, they showed no signs of environmental stress despite being in an enclosed space filled with recycled air and artificial gravity. "Look at their breathing patterns," whispered Dr. Vale, the council's chief medical officer. Her tentacled form pressed against the observation window as she studied the readouts from the chamber's sensors. Completely steady. No signs of anxiety or environmental adaptation syndrome. Counselor Jocks, a being whose body was composed entirely of living metal, watched the humans with growing unease. They're not even wearing protective gear. "How are they surviving in our station's atmosphere?" "That's what worries me," Dr. Vall replied. "Their physiology suggests they should be having severe reactions to our air mixture. The nitrogen levels alone should be causing problems for beings from their world." In the receiving chamber, Ray was beginning to understand that something about their visit was causing unusual concern among their hosts. The remote communication, the empty spaces, the constant recording, it all suggested the aliens were treating them like dangerous specimens rather than diplomatic guests. "Diplomat Nara," Ray said. "Addressing the speakers directly, we sense that our presence is causing some anxiety. Have we done something wrong?" There was a long pause before Nara's voice returned, and Ray could hear the strain in it. "Not wrong. Exactly. It's simply that your species presents certain challenges to our standard first contact procedures." "What kind of challenges?" Ray asked, genuinely curious. Another pause. "Perhaps it would be better if we discussed this in the main conference chamber. Please follow the guidance lights." As the humans moved through the station's corridors, they passed viewing windows that looked out into space. Ray paused at one of them, admiring the view of nearby stars and the colorful nebula that gave the station its backdrop. He was unaware that his casual approach to the window had caused several alien workers to flee in terror. The conference chamber was massive, clearly designed to accommodate representatives from dozens of different species. But like the receiving area, it was empty except for recording devices and a single console that projected Nara's image as a three-dimensional hologram. Nara appeared as a graceful being with flowing fins and large, gentle eyes. Her skin had a blue-green tint that reminded Ray of Earth's tropical oceans. When she spoke, her voice carried the musical quality common to aquatic species. "Ray of Terra, she began formally, the Galactic Council appreciates your journey to meet with us. However, we must address certain complications that have arisen regarding your species' application for membership. What complications? Ray asked, settling into one of the chairs that had been provided. The furniture creaked slightly under, his weight causing Nara's image to flicker with what might have been nervousness. Your home world presents unique challenges, Nara explained carefully. Our standard membership requirements include the ability for member species to survive on at least 60% of inhabited worlds within Council space. Based on our analysis of your physiology and planetary environment, we have concerns about compatibility. Ray frowned, genuinely confused. I don't understand. We've reviewed the atmospheric and environmental data for most Council worlds, and they all seem perfectly habitable to us. In fact, many of them look quite pleasant. The statement sent a ripple of shock through the hidden observation chambers. Dr. Vale's tentacles writhed with agitation as she processed what the human had just said. You find our worlds pleasant? Nara asked, her voice barely steady. Of course, Ray replied. Your homeworld of Aquatica, for example, looks beautiful. The deep ocean cities, the moderate pressure environments, the stable climate it reminds me of some of Earth's nicer underwater research stations. In the observation chamber, Counselor Jox's metallic form began to vibrate with distress. He thinks Aquatica is moderate. The pressure in our deepest cities would crush most species instantly, Ray continued, unaware of the chaos his words were causing, and Verdania's jungle environments look quite manageable. The temperature variations are minimal. The atmospheric composition is stable. The local wildlife seems relatively docile compared to what we deal with on Earth. Docile? Nara's voice cracked slightly. The Verdanian predators are among the most dangerous creatures in Council space. Really? Ray seemed genuinely surprised. The data suggests they're mostly ambush hunters with natural toxins. We have similar creatures in Earth's rainforests. Our field researchers encounter them regularly. The conference chamber fell silent as the council members struggled to process this information. The humans were not just claiming they could survive on council worlds, they were suggesting these worlds were easier to live on than their own planet. Ray, Nara said slowly, would you be willing to demonstrate something for us? We're having difficulty understanding your species' environmental tolerances? Of course, Ray replied, standing up from his chair. What would you like me to show you? Could you remove your outer garments? We need to see how your physiology responds to our station's environment without the protection of your clothing. Ray looked puzzled but complied, removing his suit jacket and rolling up his sleeves. The sensors in the chamber immediately began recording elevated stress readings from the observing council members as they watched the human expose himself to what they considered a mildly controlled but potentially hazardous environment. Ray's skin showed no reaction to the station's atmosphere. His breathing remained saint. Dr. Lena stepped off the transport shuttle and into the council station's docking bay, carrying a large case of research materials. Her arrival had been requested by the Science Division after the disturbing first contact meeting with Ambassador Ray. As Earth's leading xenobiologist and expert on human adaptation, she was humanity's best hope for explaining their species to the terrified alien council. The 50-year-old scientist had spent her career studying how humans survived in Earth's most extreme environments. Her weathered face and steady hands showed the results of decades working in conditions that would kill most Earth creatures, let alone alien species. She had no idea that her mere presence on the station had triggered another wave of emergency protocols. Dr. Lena came the familiar voice of diplomat Nara through the speakers. Welcome to Council Station Harmony. We apologize for the continued remote communication, but recent events have required us to maintain additional safety measures. Dr. Lena looked around the empty docking bay with interest. I understand completely. Ray mentioned that our first meeting raised some concerns about human physiology. I'm here to help clear up any misunderstandings. In the observation chambers, dozens of council members watched as the human woman moved through their station with the same disturbing ease that had unsettled them. During Ray's visit, Dr. Vale, the council's chief medical officer, studied the readings from the environmental sensors with growing alarm. Her vital signs are completely stable. Dr. Vale reported to the other observers. Heart rate, breathing, temperature regulation, everything is within normal parameters for their species. She's showing no signs of environmental stress at all. Chief Scientist Dr. Hex floated closer to the observation window. His gas-filled body rippled with nervous energy as he watched the human female. How is that possible? Our atmospheric mixture should be causing at least minor respiratory distress in any oxygen-breathing species. Dr. Lena was escorted to a large laboratory chamber where she could conduct her presentation. The room was filled with holographic displays and recording equipment, but like everywhere else on the station, it was empty of alien life forms. She began unpacking her research materials, including video recordings, biological samples, and detailed charts of human physiology. I understand you have questions about human adaptability, Dr. Lena said, addressing the recording devices. I've brought comprehensive data about our species and our homeworld. Perhaps it would help if I started with some basic information about human biology. The first holographic display showed a detailed scan of human anatomy. Dr. Lena pointed to various systems as she explained their functions, but what she described as normal human biology sounded like a list of impossible adaptations to the listening. Aliens. The human cardiovascular system is designed to function under a wide range of pressures and oxygen levels, she explained. Our hearts can pump blood efficiently at sea level, where the atmospheric pressure is 14.7 pounds per square inch, or at high altitudes where it drops to less than half that amount. In the observation chamber, Counselor Jox's metallic form shuddered. Half the atmospheric pressure? That would cause explosive decompression in most of our species. Dr. Lena continued. Our respiratory system can extract oxygen from air mixtures, ranging from 15 to 30% oxygen content. We can also hold our breath for extended periods. Trained individuals can survive underwater for over 10 minutes. Without breathing apparatus? 10 minutes? Dr. Vale whispered to her colleagues. Most of our species would lose consciousness after 2 minutes without their preferred atmosphere. The human scientist moved to her next display, showing recordings of humans in various Earth environments. The first video showed people swimming in what appeared to be a large body of water. This is footage of humans enjoying recreational swimming in one of Earth's oceans, Dr. Lena explained casually. The water temperature here is about 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and the salt content is roughly 3.5%. The alien observers watched in horror as humans dove beneath the surface of the corrosive salt water, their bodies moving with grace and apparent comfort in an environment that would dissolve the exoskeletons of several council species. The salt concentration alone should be causing severe chemical burns. Dr. Hex muttered, his gaseous form rippling with distress. Dr. Lena switched to another video, this one showing humans climbing a steep rock face. Mountain climbing is a popular human recreational activity. This particular mountain peak reaches an altitude of over 20,000 feet above sea level, where the atmospheric pressure is only about half of what we experience at ground level. The aliens watched as humans moved up the vertical rock face, their bodies adapting to the thin air and extreme physical demands. What they were seeing challenged every assumption they had about the limits of biological adaptation. Notice how their grip strength allows them to support their entire body weight using only their fingers, Dr. Lena pointed out. Human bone density and muscle structure evolved to handle the constant stress of our planet's gravity and terrain. The next series of videos proved even more disturbing to the council members. Dr. Lena showed footage of humans in Arctic conditions, wearing minimal clothing while walking across frozen landscapes where the temperature was far below the freezing point of water. Cold weather adaptation is another key feature of human physiology, she explained. Our bodies can maintain core temperature in environments ranging from well below freezing to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. We accomplish this through a combination of behavioral adaptation and biological responses. Dr. Vale's tentacles writhed with agitation as she processed this information. They can survive in temperatures that would freeze most known life forms solid. But the revelations were far from over. Dr. Lena's next video showed humans in desert environments walking across sand dunes under a blazing sun. The humans appeared comfortable, despite the extreme heat and lack of visible water sources. Survival demonstrates another aspect of human adaptability, Dr. Lena continued. We can survive for days without water and weeks without food. Our kidneys are highly efficient at conserving fluids, and our bodies can metabolize stored fat reserves during extended periods of scarcity. The alien scientists were beginning to understand that they were not looking at a normal biological species. Every system in the human body seemed designed for survival in conditions that would quickly kill other forms of life. Dr. Lena moved to her most shocking revelation. Perhaps the most important thing to understand about humans is that we actively seek out dangerous environments for recreation and personal development. She displayed a series of videos showing humans engaging in what she called extreme sports. The aliens watched in stunned silence as humans jumped from aircraft thousands of feet above the ground, dove into deep underwater caves, and climbed active volcanoes. These activities are not survival necessities, Dr. Lena explained, are chosen voluntarily for enjoyment and personal challenge. Millions of humans participate in dangerous recreational activities every year. Counselor Jocks's voice carried a note of hysteria as he spoke to his fellow observers. They deliberately expose themselves to lethal conditions for fun. Heard the question through the communication system and smiled. Oh yes, extreme sports are very popular on Earth. The more dangerous the activity, the more exciting many humans find it. We have entire industries built around helping people safely experience dangerous situations. She switched to a medical display showing human immune system data. I should also mention that human immune systems are remarkably robust. We coexist with billions of microorganisms that live in and on our bodies. Our immune systems constantly fight off bacterial and viral infections that would overwhelm most other species. Dr. Hex's gaseous form began to glow with alarm as he processed this information. Walking biological weapons platforms. Their bodies are adapted to survive. Everything pressure changes, temperature extremes, toxic environments, radiation exposure, pathogenic organisms. Dr. Lena concluded her presentation with a summary that left the council members in stunned silence. The key point to understand is that humans are not unusual survivors who manage to escape a hostile world. We are the product of millions of years of evolution on a planet that constantly challenged every aspect of our biology. Earth didn't just shape us to survive, it shaped us to thrive under conditions that most life forms cannot even imagine. She packed up her materials, seemingly unaware of the chaos her presentation had caused in the observation chambers. I hope this information helps clarify any questions about human capabilities. We're looking forward to working with the Council and learning about your civilizations. As Dr. Lena was escorted back to the guest quarters, the council chambers erupted in emergency debates. The implications of what they had learned were staggering. Humans were not just hardy survivors, they were the end result of evolution pushed to its absolute limits. The council was beginning to realize that they had not discovered a new member species. They had encountered something unprecedented in galactic history, a species that had been forged in the fires of a world so hostile that it had created beings capable of surviving anywhere in the known universe. The council chambers buzzed with nervous energy as the members debated their next course of action. Dr. Lena's presentation had shattered their understanding of biological limits, but many council members still found it difficult to believe that any species could be as adaptable as the humans claim to be. We need concrete proof, declared Admiral Rex, his scaled form towering over the other council members. The military leader's red eyes gleamed with skepticism as he addressed the assembly. These demonstrations on our station prove nothing. We need to see how these humans perform in real environments. Diplomat Nara floated in her water-filled chamber, her fins moving with agitation.
Yes.
The risks are too great. If we're wrong about their capabilities, we could be responsible for their deaths. And if we're right, countered Counselor Jocks, then we need to understand exactly what we're dealing with. I propose a formal evaluation. Let the humans visit our worlds and demonstrate their claimed adaptability. After hours of debate, the council reached a decision. They would invite a small group of human volunteers to visit 4 different member worlds, each presenting unique environmental challenges. The test would be carefully monitored, with emergency evacuation procedures in place if the humans proved unable to survive the conditions. The first volunteer was Mark, a 35-year-old geologist from Earth's polar research stations. His calm demeanor and weathered face showed the results of years working in some of Earth's harshest environments. He had volunteered for the test with genuine curiosity about alien worlds, completely unaware that the council members viewed his mission as potentially suicidal. The first destination was Glacius, homeworld of the iceborne species, the planets. Surface was locked in permanent winter, with temperatures that rarely rose above -40 degrees Fahrenheit. The native iceborne lived in underground thermal caves, venturing to the surface only in heavily insulated suits for brief mining operations. The surface conditions are lethal to most known life forms, explained Dr. Frost, the iceborne representative. As Mark prepared for his surface expedition, our people can survive only minutes in direct exposure to the surface environment. Mark examined the environmental suit the aliens had prepared for him. It was bulky and heavily insulated, designed to protect against the killing cold of Glacius. He politely declined to wear it. "I appreciate the concern," Mark said, "but I'd like to experience your world's natural environment. This reminds me of winter conditions in Earth's Antarctica." The iceborne delegation watched in horror as Mark stepped onto the surface of their world wearing only standard Earth clothing, a simple jacket, pants, and boots. The killing cold that drove their people underground seemed to have no effect on the human. Mark walked across the frozen landscape for over an hour, occasionally stopping to examine ice formations or collect samples. He moved with the easy confidence of someone taking a casual stroll, completely unaware that he was surviving in conditions that would kill most galactic species within minutes. "The air is crisp and clean," Mark reported through his communication device. "It's definitely cold, but not uncomfortable. Reminds me of some winter camping trips I've taken." The second test took place on Aridus, the desert homeworld of the sandwalker species. The planet's surface was scorched by a merciless sun, with daytime temperatures reaching over 130 degrees Fahrenheit. The native sandwalkers required cooling suits and frequent water breaks to survive their own planet's harsh environment. Lisa, a 30-year-old marine biologist who had spent years studying life in Earth's most extreme desert regions, volunteered for this test. Her sun-bronzed skin and steady movements spoke of someone comfortable with harsh conditions. "The heat will dehydrate most species within hours," warned Guide Dune, a sandwalker representative. "Our people cannot survive on the surface for more than 30 minutes without cooling systems." Lisa examined the cooling suit the aliens offered her and politely declined. She stepped onto the burning sands of Aridus, wearing lightweight Earth clothing and carrying only a water bottle. Delegation watched from their climate-controlled vehicles as Lisa walked across the desert landscape. The heat that forced their people to seek shelter seemed to barely affect the human. She moved with purpose and energy, occasionally pausing to examine desert plants or geological formations. "The heat is dry but manageable," Lisa reported. "It's similar to conditions I've worked in during desert research expeditions. The low humidity actually makes it more comfortable than some tropical environments on Earth." After 4 hours of walking across the desert, Lisa returned to the base camp, showing no signs of heat exhaustion or dehydration. The sandwalker observers were speechless. The third test pushed the boundaries even further. Tom, a professional deep-sea researcher, volunteered to visit Aquatica, the underwater world of Diplomat Naras people. The planet cities were built in the crushing depths of vast oceans, where the pressure would implode most surface-dwelling species instantly. "The pressure at our city level is over 8 times your planet's atmospheric pressure," Nara explained, her musical voice carrying notes of concern. "Even our people require gradual acclimatization to prevent decompression sickness." Tom studied the heavy pressure suit the Aquaticans had prepared for him. The suit was designed to protect against crushing depths that would destroy most alien physiology. He considered it for a moment, then asked if he could try a free dive first. "Free dive?" Nara's voice cracked with disbelief. "Without protective equipment? I'd like to test my limits," Tom explained. "I've done deep-sea research on Earth without pressure suits. I'm curious to see how your ocean compares." The Aquatican delegation watched in amazement as Tom dove into their ocean without any protective gear. he descended to depths that would crush most species, his body naturally adapting to the pressure changes that would kill alien visitors. Tom explored the underwater cities for over an hour, his movements fluid and comfortable in the crushing depths. He examined the architecture, interacted with local marine life, and even helped repair a damaged structure using his natural swimming abilities. The pressure is noticeable, but manageable, Tom reported. It's similar to deep-sea diving conditions on Earth. The water is beautifully clear. The marine ecosystem is fascinating. The final test took place on Verdania, the jungle world of Counselor Cole's people. The planet's dense forests were filled with aggressive predators and toxic plants that made surface travel extremely dangerous for most species. The native Verdanians lived in elevated tree cities, avoiding the deadly jungle floor. Amy, a botanist who specialized in studying poisonous plants in Earth's rainforests, volunteered for this final test. Her experience with dangerous flora and fauna made her the perfect candidate for exploring Verdania's hostile ecosystem. The jungle floor contains over 300 species of toxic plants, warned Guideleaf, a Verdanian representative. Our people cannot survive surface contact without protective suits and breathing apparatus. Amy examined the full-body environmental suit the Verdanians offered her. The suit was designed to protect against toxic spores, aggressive fauna, and the concentrated plant toxins that saturated the jungle air. She politely declined to wear it. "I'd like to experience your ecosystem naturally," Amy explained. "I've worked in similar environments on Earth, tropical rainforests with dangerous wildlife and toxic plants." The Verdanian delegation watched from their elevated platforms as Amy walked directly into their planet's most dangerous regions. She moved through the jungle with practiced ease, identifying toxic plants and avoiding dangerous creatures with the skill of someone who had spent years in similar environments. Amy spent an entire day exploring the jungle floor, collecting samples and documenting species that most Verdanians had never seen up close. The concentrated toxins that would kill most species seemed to have no effect on her enhanced human immune system. "The biodiversity is incredible," Amy reported. "Some of these plant toxins are similar to compounds I've studied in Earth's rainforests. My body seems to be handling the exposure well." When Amy emerged from the jungle after 8 hours of exploration, she showed no signs of poisoning or injury. The Verdanian observers were too shocked to speak. As the test results were compiled and transmitted back to the council station, the implications became clear. The humans had not just survived the challenging conditions of 4 different worlds, they had thrived in them. More disturbing still, they had found the deadly environments of council worlds to be mild compared to their own planet's extremes. The council members gathered to review the test footage in stunned silence. Every assumption they had made about the limits of biological adaptation had been shattered. The humans were not just hardy survivors. They were living proof that evolution could create beings capable of surviving in any environment the galaxy could offer. The test had answered their questions about human capabilities, but it had also raised a terrifying new question. If these humans could survive anywhere, what did that mean for the future of galactic civilization? The Grand Council chamber had never seen such chaos in its 1,000-year history. Representatives from all member species filled the massive space, their voices creating a symphony of confusion and concern as they debated what to do about the human situation. The test results from the 4 worlds had spread throughout the galactic community like wildfire, shattering everything they thought they knew about life and survival. Chancellor Vex floated at the center of the chamber, his crystalline body flickering with stressed purple light as he called for order. "The emergency session will come to order," his voice rang out across the chamber. "We are here to address the unprecedented situation presented by the human species and determine our response." Admiral Rex rose from his position among the military representatives. His massive scaled form commanded attention as he addressed the assembly. "The implications of these test results cannot be ignored. We have witnessed a species that can survive on any world in council space without protective equipment. From a military perspective, this represents an enormous advantage." Murmurs of concern rippled through the chamber. Many species had built their civilizations around the assumption that certain worlds were uninhabitable. The idea that humans could colonize any planet challenged the basic foundations of galactic territorial agreements. They could expand into regions we've never even considered exploring, Admiral Rex continued. Worlds with crushing gravity, toxic atmospheres, extreme temperatures. None of these barriers seem to affect them. If they chose to expand aggressively, we would have no way to stop them. Dr. Vale's tentacled form writhed with agitation as she stood to respond, but that assumes hostile intent. The humans have shown no signs of aggression. Their diplomatic approach has been respectful and peaceful. So far, interjected Counselor Jocks, his metallic body reflecting the chambers. Lights. But what happens when they realize their true advantage? What happens when they understand that every world in our alliance is essentially a vacation resort compared to their homeworld? The debate was interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Lena, who had been invited to address the council directly. Human scientists walked into the chamber with the same calm confidence that had unnerved so many alien observers. Her presence immediately quieted the chaotic discussions. Honored members of the Galactic Council, Dr. Lena began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics. I understand there are concerns about humanity's capabilities and intentions. I'm here to provide clarification and address any fears you might have. Chancellor Vex's crystalline form pulsed with nervous energy. Dr. Lena, the test results have raised serious questions about your species' potential impact on galactic civilization. Your people seem capable of surviving anywhere. This level of adaptability is unprecedented. Dr. Lena nodded thoughtfully. I understand your concerns, but I think there's something important you should know about humans that might ease your fears. She activated a holographic display that showed images of Earth from space. The blue and green planet looked deceptively peaceful from orbit, giving no hint of the extreme conditions that existed on its surface. What you've seen so far represents only a fraction of Earth's true challenges, Dr. Lena explained. The environments your volunteers tested, extreme cold, desert heat, crushing depths, toxic jungles, these are what we consider mild conditions on our homeworld. The chamber fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. If the conditions that had challenged their greatest survival technologies were considered mild by human standards, what did that say about the rest of Earth? Dr. Lena continued, our planet contains environments so extreme that even humans can barely survive them. The deepest parts of our oceans, where the pressure would crush spacecraft, volcanic regions where the heat melts rock, radioactive zones, where atomic elements naturally concentrate, these represent the true testing grounds of human evolution. She switched to another display, showing human children playing in what appeared to be a normal outdoor setting. But the environmental readings revealed that the children were casually enduring conditions that would require emergency life support. For most alien species, perhaps most importantly, Dr. Lena said, you should understand that humans have been shaped not just by our world's dangers, but by our response to them. We don't simply survive, we adapt, explore, and ultimately make hostile environments livable for others. Chief Scientist Dr. Hex's gaseous form brightened with sudden understanding. You're saying that humans don't just survive extreme conditions, you actively make them better? Exactly, Dr. Lena replied. Throughout our history, humans have taken the most dangerous and hostile regions of our planet and transformed them into livable spaces. We've built cities in deserts, underwater, in Arctic regions, even in areas with high natural radiation. We don't avoid dangerous environments, we improve them. This revelation shifted the entire tone of the debate. Instead of seeing humans as potential conquerors who could take any world they wanted, the council began to understand them as natural terraformers who could make uninhabitable worlds livable. Diplomat Nara spoke from her water-filled chamber, her musical voice carrying new hope. Are you suggesting that humans could help us access worlds we've never been able to colonize? Dr. Lena smiled. That's exactly what I'm suggesting. Galaxy is full of worlds with valuable resources that remain untapped because they're too dangerous for conventional species to inhabit. Humans could establish settlements on these worlds, extract resources safely, and eventually make them habitable. For other species, the chamber erupted in excited discussions as the possibilities became clear. Worlds with rare minerals but toxic atmospheres. Planets with valuable energy sources but crushing gravity. ocean worlds with abundant resources but deadly pressure. All of these could potentially be accessed through human intermediaries. But what do humans want in return? Asked Admiral Rex, his military mind still focused on potential threats. Dr. Lena's answer surprised everyone. Knowledge, friendship, and the chance to explore. Humans are naturally curious about the universe. We want to learn about your cultures, your technologies, your histories. We want to explore new worlds, not to conquer them, but to understand them. She activated a final display, showing human children learning about alien cultures. Our greatest desire is to take our place in the galactic community as partners and friends. We offer our unique abilities, not as weapons, but as tools for mutual benefit. Chancellor Vex's crystalline form began to glow with a warm golden light. As hope replaced fear, you're proposing a new kind of partnership. Humans could serve as explorers and settlers for worlds too dangerous for other species, opening up new territories for everyone. And in return, Dr. Lena confirmed, we ask only for acceptance, friendship, and the opportunity to learn from. Your civilizations, Earth has taught us to survive anywhere, but you can teach us to truly live. The vote that followed was unprecedented in Council history. Not only were humans accepted as members of the Galactic Council, but they were given a new classification entirely. Earth was reclassified from a Class 12 Deathworld to the galaxy's first Class 13, Evolution's masterpiece. It's a world so challenging that it had created the ultimate adaptive species. Humans were officially designated as the Council's exploration and settlement specialists, with the responsibility of investigating and preparing dangerous worlds for potential colonization by other species. It was a role that matched perfectly with humanity's natural curiosity and adaptability. As the session concluded and the various species began making plans for joint exploration missions, a new age began for galactic civilization. The Council had gained access to vast new territories and resources, while humanity had found its place among the stars as the species uniquely equipped to go where no others could follow. The discovery of humanity had not threatened the galactic community. It had opened unlimited possibilities for growth and exploration that would benefit every species in the Alliance.